on the road down in St. Pete. And Roch, I mean, you got to be having a little bit of fun watching what they've put together so far.
It is. It's a nice change. And you would think, especially watching the video, that they would be just positively giddy over being around 500. I mean, they can't be any worse than 500 after today's game going into the break. They could be 2 over. A win today matches their win total for all of 2018. And yet everybody you talk to, they're like, well, 500 is not the goal. This is nice, but, you know, they have bigger aspirations. They have a broader view of this season than just being around 500, which is pretty impressive. I mean, the win streak ends the other night, and that was a very quiet, distraught clubhouse. Brandon Hyde, I don't know if I've seen him take a loss much harder than that one. He was already replaying in his mind, maybe I should have taken Tyler Wells out 1 batter sooner, but we had planned with Perez and this and that. He's replaying it in his head, and it was just, you would have thought they would have lost 10 in a row. So the expectations are much higher here. Some guys admit they're checking the standings, they're taking a peek at the wild card. Some others say they don't look or they haven't yet. They may check it out during the break. But, of course, there's always that elephant in the room of what happens at the trade deadline, if this team's going to stay intact and who's going to be going. But they're talking postseason. Like, that is the goal here. It's not to finish 500. And I find that very interesting for a team, an organization that has had a winning season since 2016.
Well, and you mentioned 2016. That would be the first time the Orioles go into the break above 500 if they can pull off the win today since that year. Now, during the break, though, they're going to get a chance to look at Jorge Lopez as he's going out to the All-Star game in Los Angeles. And this goes way beyond what he's been able to contribute on the field.
It really does. It's a family affair. You know, the club was hoping they'd have more than one representative. There was some disappointment there was just one. But to a man, if you ask them, they say they got it right. It should be Jorge Lopez. He was the right choice. Forget about that mini slump that he had. You know, when you're a closer, mini slumps look a lot bigger. You know, 2 blown saves in a row and the 3 home runs in a row. But this is really about him being able to bring his son Micah. You know, he was in Boston. He got clearance from the doctors at Cincinnati's Children's Hospital to go to Boston to celebrate his 9th birthday. They had 2 cakes. He's going to be at this game as well. And, you know, Jorge says, I'm not sure he really understands. I told him he knows, but he doesn't know until he actually gets there and sees what a big deal it is. And the fact he gets to share it with his son. He said, look, we've watched the games in the past at home or from the hospital room. And he goes, he doesn't really see the game. He doesn't really know what's going on. So once he arrives and he sees what this is all about, that's when it's really going to hit him what a big deal it is that his dad is there.
Well, we hope that they get every chance to take this in. And meanwhile, one of his counterparts, Felix Bautista, you have some updates on what's going on with him.
Yeah, you know, he walked from the bullpen to the dugout during the game yesterday, which kind of caught our eye. And we asked Brandon Hyde afterward about it. And he jokingly used the hockey term upper body soreness, because we've been joking how hockey, they're never specific. Talked to Felix today. It's actually his right hand. He was using one of those rubber exercise bands that he always does before BP, before a game, just stretch, get loose. He had the hook on the fence. It snapped and hit his hand. Fortunately, no broken bones, but he wasn't available yesterday. Probably not available today either. You got the All-Star break coming up at the perfect time, but it was a freakish accident. It wasn't Marty Cordova burning himself in a tanning bed freakish, but definitely freakish. Brandon said he's never had that happen on a team he's been with, but he's heard about it on other teams. So it was weird, and Melanie, we all use those bands, so let that be a lesson to you. A cautionary tale, you have to be careful. I worry about losing an eye with them, but apparently you can hurt your hand as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple packed in my bag, so they might stay in there for the All-Star break. Now, coming into this, it's a big day for baseball. We've got the draft at 7 o'clock tonight. I mean, what off the top? Do we have a prediction from you? What do we got?
If you look at the mock drafts, they change literally every 5 minutes. They've got the Orioles taking somebody else, which is exactly how Mike Elias likes it. He plays it close to the vest, but we know there's a final 5 here without question. Obviously, Drew Jones, Elijah Green, Jackson Holliday, Tamar Johnson, Brooke Lee. Those are the 5 guys. The Orioles haven't confirmed it, but trust me, those are the 5 guys. But who they're going to take, there are multiple odds makers now that have Lee being the guy, the only college guy, Cal Poly. The rest are high school. But then everybody who does a mock draft, every quote expert will say, they always couch it with, hey, we're kind of guessing here. The Orioles don't show their hand. We don't know. We're playing a hunch. So nobody really knows. They're going to get a really good player for sure. But, I mean, they may not even know yet till they're on the clock. They usually take it right down to the wire. They had a Zoom meeting yesterday where Brandon Hyde was involved with it. They've got all their scouts in the room, all the personnel. They've been talking about it for days, but I don't think there's a consensus yet.